Hi everyone, this is Chuck, I'm Mateusz, and today we are going to talk about differences between American and Polish schools.
Brought to you by RTBs. Straight from the streets.
So Chuck, you have been to our school a few times. What are the biggest differences between American school and Polish schools?
Well, obviously you go to a secondary school, and so I would say the two biggest differences between a Polish school system and an American school system at the secondary level is the scheduling. And you have in American schools, they have the same schedule every day. So if you go to History First on Monday, you go to History First on Tuesday, History First on Wednesday, History First on Thursday, History First on Friday. Every day is the same. So once you memorize your schedule, which should be 6 or 7 classes, it's the same every day until January. And then in January it might switch one time, and then for the second half of the year it will be the same too. As you know, in Polish schools, each day is different. Monday is always like the following Monday, but Monday is different from Tuesday, Tuesday is different from Wednesday, and so forth. So that would be one of the really big differences that I would see. The other big difference I would see is in American secondary schools, each person has their own individual schedule. And so you and I might go to math class together, but then I go to a different history class and you go to another class, and so we're only together for math. We're not together all day long like you are in Polish schools. And certainly next year we may not be together at all. So each individual has their own individual schedule. And so if I'm a really good math student, I can sign up for advanced level math, and I might have trouble with foreign languages, so I might be in a lower level foreign language than you. Or I might choose to take a different foreign language than you. I might take French and you take Spanish. So each student has their own individual schedule that's tailored for them, which is good for them and prepares them for their future. Those are two big differences.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, on the other hand, they're very similar. The classrooms are all about the same size. We sit at desk just like you sit at a desk. We have a teacher who stands in the front and teaches us just like you have a teacher who stands in the front and teaches you. So from that aspect, the school looks very similar. You know, it's the same. It's probably the same on most countries in the world. That, you know, they have a classroom, students, a teacher standing in front, instructing people, teaching people. So in many respects, it's also the same.
So my second question will be, what are the differences between students?
What are the differences between students? In American secondary schools, each city usually has one school that people go to. And if you live in a certain part of the city, either the whole city or the whole county or gmina, then you go to that school, whether you are preparing to go to college or whether you're preparing to go to a vocational profession. Everybody goes to that one school, and then they have individual programs within that school, that one building for everybody. So that might be one big difference there for how American students differ from Polish students, in that we all go to the same school.
So what is the American dress code?
Well, it's been a long time since I've been in school, but usually the requirement is that you dress neatly, and that the biggest thing that we will see in American schools with dress codes is that people don't have offensive language on their shirts or their clothing, or something that is provocative, whether it advocates sexual things or drug use or maybe political views. It usually has to be a kind of a neutral wording or neutral clothing from that standpoint.
My next question probably is going to be really hard. I will ask you about the mass shooting.
Fortunately, I have no personal experience with that. And when I was in school, that didn't seem to be a problem. I think we do see that in the news occasionally, unfortunately. But I think in many schools, all schools have procedures and plans for what they call active shooters in the school. And it's almost like when I was in school, we always had tornado drills and fire drills. A couple of times a year, we would have a tornado drill because we lived where there was a good possibility that would be tornadoes. And so you would learn what to do in event of a tornado. And then, of course, you know what a fire drill is. You learn to do what happens in the event of a fire in the building, how to evacuate the building, how to account for everybody. And so now there's just a third aspect being added in is what to do if there's an active shooter in the building. So from that aspect, from the students' aspect, I think it's just another drill that they have to do. We did fire drills my whole life. Well, I've never seen a fire. We did tornado drills my whole life. I've never been in a fire or never been in a tornado. And fortunately, the vast, vast, vast majority of American students can say that they've never been around an active shooter too.
Are there any alcohol problem with students in America?
Absolutely. Absolutely there are. And since Americans are not allowed to drink before they're 21 years old, and everybody in secondary school is at best 19 years old, even the consumption of one drink is an excessive problem. That means they're breaking the law. And so absolutely there's problems with alcohol in American schools. You know, the forbidden fruit, they say, is the one that tastes the best. Well, is there a problem with Polish students using excessive amounts of alcohol in secondary schools?
I think I shouldn't answer this question.
One other difference that I see in American schools and Polish schools is in America we have 4 minutes between classes. And when the bell rings, you leave your classroom, and when the next bell rings 4 minutes later, you're required to be sitting in your seat at your desk. If you're not sitting in your seat at your desk, you're late, and there can be punishments for that, for being late. So that is a huge difference that I see in American schools and Polish schools.
But you have only 4 minutes, that's not much time.
That's not much time, so you better be efficient.
Whoa, that's kind of really hard for a student, I guess.
You develop to the efficiencies that you want to develop to.
Okay.
And if I told you had 4 minutes to do something, you could get it done if you wanted to do it. To walk 100 meters, it doesn't take 4 minutes.
That's true.
To hang around and be on your phone and talk to your friends, maybe longer, but there's consequences to your actions.
Yeah, you can do it in class, right? Is it easy to get kicked out of school?
Actually, I would say no. There's a lot of provisions to allow students to get a second, third, fourth chance. And it may be easy for them to get kicked out of their classroom, but then they might be required to come to school and sit in a detention room or still do their schooling on the school premises but away from their classmates. And then it becomes difficult to move them from that aspect out the door permanently. But it is easy to get yourself in trouble and get put into detention or something like that, where you are not going to school with your friends, but you're still going to school. You're just kind of in school prison.
So, Chuck, thank you for the talk, and see you next week.
I'll be here.